So today we're dealing with this very, very provocative statement. There is no right and there is no wrong. This has to be one of the first cards that I channeled. And probably the reason that I channeled this right in the beginning when I created these cards is because I kept wondering if I was doing the cards right. And so the message that came forward is there is no right and there is no wrong. And this comes from the You Are Safe suite of cards. So this is a really important, like, foundational principle to be able to embrace any of what we talk about here. The mind is a very interesting thing. The mind has an inability to handle a lot of complexity. So some of our minds can handle more complexity than others, but most of the time the mind has a very intense need to try and simplify things. We want to put it into its boxes. This is the way it works. This is and the more I can sort it out, the more I can feel like I'm in control. I can feel like I've got it sorted, and I can feel like I am safe. But the reality is, in order to put something in a box, I have to define it. I have to say something goes in this box and something goes in that box. A very simple way of thinking about this is the way we kind of sort out people in our lives. The starting point of that is I meet somebody and I ask myself the question, are they male or are they female? Which box am I going to put them in? And if the mind knows which box it's in, then I know what to do with males. Okay, that's that box. And I might have some sub-boxes for males in there. Yeah, and then a female box. And we might meet some people that we don't know nowadays. Like, are you male or are you female? And we ask these ridiculously simplified questions like, well, which box should I put you in then? You must be one or the other. This is not true. People are so much more complex than this. They fit into their own definition of themselves. And when we can have sort of a way of navigating the world where we don't have to put things into boxes, we don't have to navigate it into a right and a wrong way, then we are able to be more open and more embracing of things that we do not understand, of things that do not fit into our set of rules, into our set of the way it should be. And so I give you this very simplified version of are you male, are you female? But the reality is we do this with so many dynamics all day. We try and put it into the things that we like and don't like, the things that are good and bad, right and wrong. You know? And we hold all these binary principles in mind. Are you in or you out? You know? And so everything that becomes binary in this right, wrong, in and out principle, we start to lose perspective and we start to create more and more fear in ourselves because we've really created the strategy that I have to understand something to embrace it, that I have to be able to contain it to be able to work with it. And so when I can start to navigate life with there is no right and there is no wrong, I become more open to seeing what is. And what's on offer can always help me expand my own perspective. And so when I allow things to be fluid or more open, which is easier said than done, then I'm able to be less critical, less judgmental, less controlling, and probably the big thing that comes from this, less perfectionistic. Because one of the biggest challenges of this, something must be right, and if it's not right, it's wrong, is the tendency to navigate life from a perfectionist tendency. And most of us are recovering perfectionists if we're not perfectionists ourselves at this point in time, which means we beat ourselves up for everything that we do wrong, every mistake that we make. And what this fundamentally means is that we don't take risks, we don't try something new, we don't explore the world in an open way. I teach sacred geometry classes and teach people how to draw sacred geometry and how to draw mandalas. And the very first principle I teach in the class is that there is no right and there is no wrong way to do this. When you're creating a mandala, it's going to teach you. And every mistake you make is something to learn from. And so there's no right or wrong way to approach this. There's no right or wrong way for you to be in your life. All you can be is you and show up and then learn from that experience. And so this card asks us to really notice our own inherent set of rules. The rules that we've created that hold us quite structured in the way that we're approaching life. Now, does this mean that we need to live life without any set of structures, without any sets of preferences? And that is absolutely not true at all. Of course you can. There may be something I prefer. I prefer this to that. I like this more than I like that because I've experienced this. But a preference is different to a rule. A rule is something may not be done. A preference is I'm choosing it. And when you can live your life by your preferences rather by a societal set of rules or an internal set of rules, you're so much freer and you're so much more authentic in yourself because you've learned what it is that you prefer. So one of the ways that you can explore this principle for yourself is to sit and think about what are the rules that you have for the way you should be in your life. You know? And just simply sitting down and saying, like, what are the rules that come up? What is right and what is wrong? And to notice that within there's an opportunity for your growth. And if you could shift that to, well, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's a preference for me, well, that's fine. But you may need to do some inner work to notice how do you get safe in a little bit more of the grey area, the middle area between the right and wrong, because things are more fluid than you believe they are. Sending you lots of love. Namaste.
Get your very own deck of I Am Lightwalker cards straight from Taryn by visiting IamLightwalker.com/cards.